The war room was dark and cold. Metal walls reflected the dim blue lights from the ceiling. Around a large table, 20 alien soldiers sat together. They were celebrating. Their species, the Chrythans, had just won another battle against a weak planet. Drinks were poured. Voices were loud. Laughter filled the air. But in the corner of the room, one figure stood silent. Commander Vex leaned against the wall with his arms crossed. His face was covered in old scars. 3 long marks ran down his left cheek. His eyes were tired and dark. While others celebrated, he stared at the floor. His hands trembled slightly, but nobody noticed. "Another victory," shouted Captain Zara, raising her glass high. She was young and confident. Her armor was clean and shining. "The Chrythan Empire grows stronger every day." The soldiers cheered. They banged their fists on the table. The sound echoed through the room like thunder. A young soldier named Crix stood up. He was laughing so hard that tears ran down his face. Wait, he said, trying to catch his breath. "I heard something funny today." The room became quieter. Everyone turned to look at him. "I was reading about our next target," Crix continued. "A planet called Earth. And guess what? The humans who live there believe in monsters." Some soldiers started laughing immediately. Others looked confused. "What do you mean?" asked another soldier. Crix grinned widely. "They have stories about creatures that drink blood. They call them vampires. And animals that turn into beasts during the full moon. They call them werewolves. They even believe in demons from another world." The laughter grew louder. Soldiers hit the table and slapped each other's backs. "How can a species reach space travel and still believe in fairy tales?" Zara asked, shaking her head with amusement. "Exactly," Crix said. "They are supposed to be warriors, but they fear made-up stories. How can we lose to creatures who are afraid of the dark?" More laughter filled the room. The celebration continued. Drinks were poured again. But Commander Vex did not laugh. His hand gripped the edge of the wall tighter. His knuckles turned white. "We attack Earth in 1 month," Zara announced, standing up straight. "Command has given us the order. We will land in their cities and take control. It will be easy. They are soft and weak." The soldiers cheered again. They raised their weapons in the air. "Finally, a planet that will not fight back," Crix shouted. "Maybe their vampires will scare us away." The room erupted in laughter once more. Suddenly, a chair scraped loudly against the metal floor. Everyone stopped. The laughter died. All eyes turned to the corner. Commander Vex was standing now. He moved slowly toward the table. His boots made heavy sounds with each step. Thump, thump, thump. The soldiers watched him in silence. There was something about the way he moved. Something wrong. Something frightening. Vex stopped at the edge of the table. He looked at each soldier one by one. His dark eyes seemed to see through them. "You should not laugh," he said quietly. His voice was cold. It was heavy. It made the air feel thick. Crix shifted uncomfortably. "Commander, we were just—" "I know what you were doing," Vex interrupted. "You were laughing at humans. You were laughing at their stories." Zara frowned. "Commander Vex, with respect, they are just stories. Children's tales. They are not real." Vex's jaw tightened. A muscle in his cheek twitched. "You think you know everything," he said slowly. "You think because you have won battles against weak planets you are ready for Earth. Are we not?" Zara asked, crossing her arms. The room was completely silent now. You could hear the soft hum of the ship's engines. Vex reached up and touched the scars on his face. His fingers traced the 3 long marks. 20 years ago I thought the same thing," he said. "I laughed too." Crix tried to smile. "Commander, are you saying you are afraid of human stories?" Vex turned to look at him. The young soldier's smile disappeared immediately. "I am not afraid of their stories," Vex said, his voice barely above a whisper. He paused. The silence stretched longer. "I am afraid because their stories are true." The words hung in the air like poison. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Zara took a step forward. "What do you mean? What happened 20 years ago?" But Vex was already walking toward the door. His shoulders were heavy with weight that was not physical. "Commander," Zara called after him. "You need to explain." Vex stopped at the doorway. He did not turn around. "You will learn soon enough," he said quietly. "When you land on Earth. When the sun goes down. When you hear them coming in the dark." He walked out. The door closed behind him with a soft hiss. The soldiers looked at each other. Nobody knew what to say. The celebration was over. The laughter was gone. In the silence, everyone felt something they had not felt in years. Fear. 1 month passed quickly. The Krithan fleet arrived at Earth during the night. 20 massive ships hung in the dark space above the blue planet. Inside the command ship, Captain Zara looked at the screen with confidence. "It looks peaceful," she said to her team. "Almost too peaceful." 10 soldiers stood behind her. They wore black armor and carried powerful weapons. Each one was trained for war. Each one was ready to fight. But Commander Vex stood apart from them. He checked his weapon again and again. His hands moved quickly, nervously. He had barely spoken during the entire journey. "Commander Vex," Zara said, turning to face him, "you will join us on the ground." It was not a request. It was an order. Vex looked up slowly. "That is a mistake." "Command wants you there," Zara replied firmly. "They want your experience." Vex's jaw tightened, but he said nothing more. He simply nodded once. The landing ship descended through Earth's atmosphere. It was dark outside. They were aiming for a small town in Eastern Europe. Intelligence reports said the town had only 2,000 humans. It would be an easy first target. The ship landed softly in an empty field near the town. The door opened with a hiss. Cold air rushed inside. "Move out," Zara ordered. The soldiers walked down the ramp with their weapons ready. Their boots touched earth soil for the first time. The ground felt solid and real. Crix was among them. He looked around at the dark forest nearby. "No welcoming party?" he joked. "I thought the vampires would greet us." A few soldiers laughed quietly. But the laughter sounded forced and nervous. "Stay together," Vex said sharply. "Do not spread out." They walked toward the town. Street lights glowed in the distance, but something felt wrong. The air was too quiet. No sounds of animals. No sounds of wind. Just silence. They entered the main street. Houses lined both sides. Windows were dark. Doors were closed. "Where is everyone?" one soldier whispered. Zara raised her hand for silence. She activated her scanner. "I am detecting life signs. Humans are here. But they are hiding." "Hiding from what?" Crix asked. Nobody answered. They walked deeper into the town. Their weapons scanned every shadow, every corner, every doorway. Then Vex stopped suddenly. He was staring at something on the ground. "What is it?" Zara asked. Vex knelt down. There were marks on the street. White powder arranged in circles and strange symbols. He touched it carefully, then brought his fingers to his nose. "Salt," he said quietly. "Salt?" Crix repeated. "Why would they put salt on the ground?" "Protection," Vex answered, standing up slowly. "Old protection." At the end of the street stood a church. It was old, made of dark stone. The doors were wide open. Yellow light from candles flickered inside. "Check that building," Zara ordered. 5 soldiers moved toward the church. Vex followed them, his weapon raised. Inside, the church was empty of people. But dozens of candles burned along the walls. The light made shadows dance across the ceiling. On the walls, someone had painted symbols in red. Crosses. Circles with stars inside them. Strange letters in languages the aliens did not know. "What is this place?" a soldier asked. "A holy place," Vex said, looking at the symbols. "Humans come here to pray." "To pray for what?" Crix asked. Vex touched one of the symbols on the wall. The red paint was still wet. "To pray for protection from what comes at night." Suddenly all the candles went out at the same time. Darkness swallowed them completely. "Lights!" Zara shouted. The soldiers activated lights on their weapons. Beams of white light cut through the darkness. They pointed their weapons in every direction. "Stay calm," Zara ordered. It was just the wind. But there was no wind. The air was completely still. From outside, a sound broke the silence. Screaming. It was not a human scream. It was one of their own soldiers. The sound came from the street where they had left 2 guards. "Move!" Zara shouted. They ran out of the church. Their lights swept across the empty street. The 2 guards were gone. But on the ground they found something. A weapon. It was covered in dark blue blood. Krithan blood. "Where are they?" Crix's voice shook. "Where did they go?" Vex knelt down and examined the ground. There were no footprints. No signs of struggle. Just the weapon and the blood. "Back to the ship," Vex said urgently. "Now." "We do not run from," Zara started to say. "Now," Vex shouted. His voice was filled with pure fear. The soldiers had never heard their commander sound like that. They started running back toward their ship. Their lights bounced as they moved through the darkness. Behind them, something moved on the rooftops. Fast, silent, deadly. Crix looked back while running. His light caught something for just a second. A figure. Standing on top of a building. Watching them. It looked human. But its eyes glowed red in the darkness. Then it smiled. And disappeared. The soldiers ran through the dark streets. Their breath came in quick gasps. Fear pushed them forward. Behind them they heard sounds on the rooftops. Something was jumping from building to building. Following them. Keep moving. Zara shouted. Do not stop. They reached the edge of town. The field where their ship waited was just ahead. But when they counted their numbers, someone was missing. Where is Crix? A soldier asked. Everyone stopped. They looked at each other with wide eyes. He was right behind me, another soldier said. Vex turned around slowly. His weapon light pointed back toward the town. We need to leave him. What? Zara stared at him in shock. He is one of our soldiers. He is already dead, Vex said coldly. You do not know that. Zara grabbed Vex's arm. We go back for him. That is an order. Vex looked at her hand on his arm, then at her face. You will get more soldiers killed. I do not leave anyone behind, Zara said firmly. She turned to 5 soldiers. You and you. Come with me. The rest stay here and guard the ship. Vex closed his eyes for a moment. Then he followed them. If we go back, we stay together. No one separates. They moved back into the town slowly. Their lights swept every shadow, every alley, every window. Crix. Zara called out. Where are you? Silence answered her. They turned down a narrow street between 2 old buildings. At the end of the alley they saw a figure sitting on the ground. There, a soldier pointed. It was Crix. He sat with his back against a wall. His weapon lay beside him. He was not moving. Crix. Zara ran toward him. Wait. Vex shouted, but she did not listen. Zara reached Crix and knelt down. She shook his shoulder. Crix, can you hear me? Crix's eyes were open, but they were empty, staring at nothing. Crix. Zara said again, softer this time. Suddenly Crix blinked. His head turned slowly toward Zara. His mouth opened. It smiled at me, he whispered. What smiled at you? Zara asked. The monster, Crix said. His voice was shaking. It looked human, but it was not. His teeth were so long, so sharp. And its eyes were red like fire. Where did it go? Vex asked, moving closer. It let me live, Crix continued, not really hearing the question. It looked at me. It smiled. Then it just ran away. So fast. I could not even see it move. Vex grabbed Crix by the shoulders. Which direction? Crix pointed up. Everyone looked at the rooftops above them. Nothing was there. Just darkness. Then they heard it. A sound like laughter. Soft, cold, coming from above. Get him up, Vex ordered. We move now. 2 soldiers lifted Crix to his feet. He could barely stand. They started walking back toward the field. Slower this time because Crix needed support. That is when they heard the voice. Welcome to our home. Everyone froze. The voice came from above them. It spoke in perfect Crithan language. Vex's light found it. On top of a building a figure stood. It wore old dark clothes. Its skin was pale white. When it opened its mouth they saw the teeth. Long fangs that caught the light. But the worst part was its face. It looked almost human. Almost normal. Except for the eyes. They glowed red in the darkness. You came to take our planet? The creature said. It smiled wider. That was a mistake. Fire. Zara screamed. All the soldiers shot at once. Bright lights flashed. Energy weapons burned through the air. But the creature moved. So fast it was just a blur. 1 second it was on the roof. The next second it was gone. Where did it go? A soldier shouted. Everywhere, Vex said quietly. Around them more sounds filled the air. Footsteps on rooftops. Laughter in the shadows. Not just one creature. Many. Run. Vex grabbed Zara's arm. Run now. They ran. Crix stumbled between 2 soldiers. Behind them the sounds grew louder. Closer. Something dropped from a roof right in front of them. Another creature. This one was a woman. Her dress was old and torn. Her face was beautiful and terrible at the same time. She tilted her head and smiled. You cannot run from us. Vex pulled out something from his belt. A bottle of clear liquid. He threw it at the creature. The liquid splashed across her face. She screamed. It was a horrible sound. Her skin started burning where the water touched it. Smoke rose from her face. What is that? Zara asked. Holy water, Vex said. Keep moving. They ran past the screaming creature. Finally they saw the church ahead. There. Vex pointed. Get inside. They ran into the church. Soldiers pulled the heavy doors closed and locked them. Outside, the footsteps surrounded the building. Then the doors started shaking. The church doors shook violently. Boom, boom, boom. Something was trying to break through. The old wood cracked with each impact. Hold those doors. Zara shouted. For soldiers pushed against the doors with all their strength. Their boots slid on the stone floor. Outside voices laughed. Not human laughter. Something else. Something that enjoyed their fear. You cannot hide forever, a voice called from outside. Morning is still many hours away. Inside the church, the remaining soldiers gathered in the center. They were breathing hard. Crick sat on the floor, still shaking. His eyes stared at nothing. Vex moved quickly. He opened his equipment bag and pulled out strange items. Small bottles of clear liquid. Wooden sticks with sharp points. Metal bullets that shine like silver. What are those? A soldier asked. Real weapons, Vex said, handing them out. Put these silver bullets in your guns. Keep the wooden stakes close. And this, he held up a bottle, is holy water. It burns them. Zara watched him carefully. You knew what we would find here. Vex did not look at her. He kept preparing the weapons. Commander Vex, Zara said louder. Tell us everything. Now, what are those things outside? The doors shook again. Harder this time. The wood was splitting. Vex finally stopped. He sat down on a wooden bench. His hands were shaking. He looked old suddenly. Tired. They are vampires, he said quietly. Vampires are not real, a soldier said. They are just stories. I thought the same thing, Vex replied. 20 years ago. Zara sat down across from him. Tell us what happened. Vex touched the 3 scars on his face. His fingers traced each line slowly. I was younger then. Confident. Stupid, he began. I came to Earth with a team of 15 soldiers. Our mission was to explore and report back. We landed in Eastern Europe. In the mountains. He paused. Outside the creatures were quiet now. Listening. We found an old castle, Vex continued. It was huge. Made of black stone. Intelligence said it was abandoned. So we went inside to look around. What did you find? Zara asked. Death, Vex said simply. The castle was full of human remains. Hundreds of skeletons. Some were very old. Some were recent. They were everywhere. In the halls. In the rooms. Piled in the corners. The soldiers listened in silence. Even the creatures outside seemed to wait for the story. Our commander, a soldier named Drax, he laughed, Vex said. He said humans were barbarians who killed each other. He said we had nothing to fear from such a weak species. Vex's voice grew quieter. Then we found the basement. Down stone stairs. Deep under the castle. And there, in the center of a dark room, was a coffin. A coffin? Zara repeated. A box where humans put their dead, Vex explained. This one was made of black wood. Very old. Covered in dust. He closed his eyes, remembering. Drax wanted to open it. I told him not to. But he did not listen. He never listened. What was inside? A soldier whispered. A man, Vex said. He wore old clothes from hundreds of years ago. His skin was pale. His hands were folded on his chest. He looked dead. The church was completely silent. Everyone waited. But then his eyes opened. Several soldiers gasped. Red eyes, Vex continued. Like fire. Like blood. He sat up slowly. He looked at each of us. Then he smiled. His teeth were long and white. Fangs. What did you do? Zara asked. We shot him, Vex said. All of us. We fired every weapon we had. The bullets hit him. We saw them hit him. But he just kept smiling. Vex stood up and walked to the wall. He stared at the symbols painted in red. He moved so fast. 1 second he was in the coffin. The next second he was behind us. He grabbed the first soldier and bit his neck. We heard the sound. The terrible sound of drinking. Gods, a soldier whispered. He killed 3 soldiers in less than a minute, Vex said. Drax ordered us to retreat. We ran. But the vampire followed us through the castle. Playing with us. Hunting us. How did you escape? Zara asked. I did not escape, Vex said, turning to face them. The vampire caught me. He grabbed my face with one hand. His strength was impossible. He could have killed me easily. Vex touched his scars again. Instead he did this. 3 cuts with his nails. Deep cuts. He said, go back to your people. Tell them this world is not for them. Tell them the old powers still rule here." "Then what happened?" Crix asked from the floor. It was the first time he had spoken. "He let me go," Vex said. "Just let me go. I ran. I ran until I found a human village. An old priest took me in. He cleaned my wounds. He told me the truth." "What truth?" Zara asked. "That vampires are real. That werewolves are real. That demons are real," Vex said. "All the monsters from human stories. They exist. They have always existed. And humans have been fighting them for thousands of years." The door shook again. Boom, boom, boom. A voice called from outside. "Commander Vex. I remember you." Everyone froze. 20 years ago you ran from my castle," the voice continued. "I let you live then. But now you have returned. Why?" Vex walked to the door slowly. "I did not want to come back." "Then leave," the vampire said. "Give yourself to me. Your blood for their lives. That is my offer." Silence filled the church. Zara stood up. "No. Captain," Vex started. "We leave together," Zara said firmly. "Or we fight together." The doors shook one more time. Then they broke. The church doors exploded inward. Wood flew through the air. Soldiers jumped back as pieces crashed around them. In the doorway stood the vampire. He was tall and wore clothes from another century. A long black coat. White shirt. His face was handsome but cold. His red eyes scanned the room slowly. When he saw Vex he smiled. 20 years, the vampire said, stepping inside. "You have aged." "I have not." Behind him more vampires appeared. 5 of them. 3 men and 2 women. All dressed in old clothing. All with red eyes and sharp fangs. "Stay back," Zara shouted. She aimed her weapon at the vampire leader. He looked at her gun and laughed. "That will not work, young soldier. But please try if you wish." Zara pulled the trigger. The energy blast hit the vampire in the chest. It burned through his coat. Smoke rose from the wound. The vampire looked down at the hole in his chest. Then back at Zara. He was still smiling. "That hurt a little," he said. "Now let me show you what real pain feels like." He moved. So fast he was just a blur. 1 second he was at the door. The next he was in front of Zara. His hand grabbed her throat and lifted her off the ground. "Stop!" Vex shouted. The vampire turned his head. "Ah, there is the voice I remember. The voice of fear." "Let her go," Vex said, stepping forward. "Your fight is with me." The vampire dropped Zara. She fell to the floor, gasping for air. 2 soldiers helped her up. "Yes," the vampire said. "My fight is with you. 20 years ago you and your team came to my home. You killed my family." "We did not know," Vex started. "You did not care," the vampire's voice became a roar. "You opened our resting places. You destroyed our peace. 3 of my children died that night because of you." For a moment, the vampire's face showed something besides cruelty. It showed pain. "Loss." "I am sorry," Vex said quietly. "Sorry?" the vampire repeated. "Sorry does not bring back the dead. Not even for creatures like us." He walked in a slow circle around the soldiers. The other vampires stayed at the door, blocking the exit. "So I offer you a choice," the vampire continued. "Give me Commander Vex. Let me have my revenge. And the rest of you can walk out of here alive. I give you my word." "And if we refuse?" Zara asked, standing up. The vampire smiled again. "Then you all die before sunrise. Slowly. Painfully. And I will make Vex watch each death." The soldiers looked at each other. Fear showed on their faces. Some of them looked at Vex. Their eyes asked the question they could not speak. "How much time do we have?" a soldier whispered. Vex checked his wrist device. 4 hours until sunrise." 4 hours, the vampire repeated. 4 hours to decide. I will wait outside. But my patience has limits." He turned and walked toward the door. The other vampires followed him. At the doorway he stopped and looked back. "Choose wisely," he said. Then they were gone. The soldiers rushed to block the broken doors with benches and pieces of wood. It would not stop the vampires, but it made them feel safer. Zara pulled Vex to the side. "Tell me the truth. Can we win this fight?" "No," Vex said simply. "Then what do we do?" Vex was quiet for a moment. Then he reached into his bag and pulled out the special weapons. Silver bullets. Wooden stakes. Holy water. "We fight anyway," he said. "And maybe some of us survive. Or I go out there," Vex added quietly. "I give him what he wants. And you all live." "No," Zara said immediately. It is the logical choice. I said no. Zara grabbed his arm. You are one of us. We do not trade soldiers for safety. That is not who we are. Around them the other soldiers nodded. Even Crix, who had been silent and afraid, stood up. We fight, Crix said. His voice was still shaking, but his eyes were determined. Together. Vex looked at them all. These young soldiers who barely knew him. Who had laughed at human stories just weeks ago. Now they were willing to die for him. Then we prepare, Vex said. Load your weapons with silver bullets. They will not kill vampires, but they will slow them down. Aim for the heart. That is their weak point. He handed out the wooden stakes. If you get close enough, drive this through the heart. That will kill them. And the holy water? A soldier asked. It burns their skin, Vex explained. Use it when they get too close. It will buy you time. They spent the next hour preparing. Loading weapons. Practicing with the stakes. Planning their defense. Then Vex did something unexpected. He knelt down in the center of the church. The soldiers watched in confusion. What are you doing? Zara asked. Praying, Vex said. You do not believe in human gods. No, Vex admitted. But we are in their holy place. And right now, I will take help from anyone willing to give it. One by one, the other soldiers knelt beside him. Outside, they heard the vampires laughing. 1 hour left, the vampire leader called. Have you made your choice? Zara stood up. She walked to the broken door. We have made our choice. Come and get us. Silence answered her. Then the vampire's voice came again. Colder this time. Filled with anger. So be it. When I am done with you, there will not be enough left to send home. The vampires attacked. They came through the doors. Through the windows. Through cracks in the walls. Everywhere at once. Fire. Zara screamed. The church filled with light and sound. Energy blast. Silver bullets. Screams. The battle had begun. A vampire grabbed a soldier and threw him against the wall. Bones cracked. The soldier did not get up. Another vampire caught a soldier's arm and twisted. The arm broke. The soldier's scream echoed. But the soldiers fought back. One drove a wooden stake through a vampire's chest. The creature screamed and turned to dust. The stakes work, the soldier shouted. Hope filled the room for a moment. But only for a moment. The vampire leader appeared in front of Vex. His hand shot out and grabbed Vex's throat. Finally, the vampire said. Finally, I have you. Vex struggled. His hands pulled at the vampire's grip. But it was like iron. Unbreakable. The vampire lifted Vex higher. Watch your friends die. Then I will kill you last. Slowly. Around them, soldiers fell. One by one. The vampires were too strong. Too fast. Too many. Only Vex, Zara, and 2 other soldiers remained standing. They were bleeding. Exhausted. Surrounded. This was the end. Vex looked into the vampire's red eyes. I am sorry. For everything. Too late, the vampire said. Then Vex did something no one expected. He smiled. What amuses you in your final moments? The vampire asked. Vex reached into his coat. His fingers found something small. Round. Heavy. I learned something from humans, Vex said. Sometimes the only way to win is to lose everything. He pulled out a grenade. The vampire's eyes went wide. No. Zara? Vex shouted. Run. He activated the grenade. No. Zara screamed. Vex looked at her one last time. What? Tell them what happened here. Tell them the stories are real. The vampire tried to drop Vex. Tried to run. But Vex held on tight. We die together, Vex whispered. The grenade exploded. White light filled everything. The explosion tore through the church. Stone and wood flew everywhere. The blast threw Zara and the 2 soldiers backward, out through a window. They hit the ground outside hard. Zara's head cracked against stone. Everything went black. The last thing she heard was the vampire's scream. Then silence. Zara opened her eyes slowly. Everything hurt. Her head felt like it was splitting in 2. Her ears were ringing. She could taste blood in her mouth. Above her, the sky was changing. Black was turning to dark blue. Morning was coming. She tried to sit up. Pain shot through her body. But she forced herself to move. She had to know. She had to see. Next to her, the 2 other soldiers were lying on the ground. One was moving. The other was still. Captain, the moving soldier said weakly. His name was Rex. His face was covered in cuts. Are you alive? Yes, Zara said. Her voice was rough. Check on Mar. Rex crawled to the other soldier. He put his hand on Mar's neck, searching for a pulse. After a moment he nodded. He is alive. Just unconscious. Zara looked at the church. Or what was left of it. Half the building was destroyed. Stones and broken wood covered the ground. Smoke rose from the ruins. Small fires burned here and there. Commander Vex, Zara whispered. She stood up, using the wall for support. Her legs shook. But she moved forward anyway. She walked toward the destroyed church. Captain, wait, Rex called. It might not be safe. But Zara did not stop. She climbed over broken stones. Her hands bled as sharp edges cut her skin. She did not care. In the center of the ruins she found bodies. Dust piles where vampires had been. They had turned to ash in the explosion. The morning light was burning away what remained. But where was Vex? Commander, she called out. Commander Vex. No answer. She moved more stones. Lifted broken beams of wood. Her hands were shaking now. Not from pain. From fear. Then she saw it. A hand sticking out from under a large piece of the wall. No, Zara said. She grabbed the stone and pulled. It was heavy. Too heavy. Rex. Help me. Rex stumbled over. Together they lifted the stone and pushed it aside. Under it was Vex. He was not moving. His armor was burned and cracked. Blood covered his face. His eyes were closed. No, no, no. Zara knelt beside him. She put her hand on his neck, feeling for a pulse. Nothing. She waited. Counted to 10. Still nothing. He is gone, Rex said quietly. Tears filled Zara's eyes. He saved us. He sacrificed himself. Then very faintly she felt something. A small movement under her fingers. Wait. But there. He is alive. Zara shouted. He is alive. Help me get him up. They carefully lifted Vex. He was heavy in their arms. His head hung down. But he was breathing. Barely, but breathing. The sun was rising now. Orange light spread across the sky. The vampires were gone. Burned by the explosion or fled from the coming dawn. To the ship, Zara ordered. Now. They carried Vex across the field. Every step was agony. But they did not stop. They could not stop. Behind them the town was silent. Empty. Whatever humans had hidden during the night were still hiding. Watching. Waiting to make sure the danger was truly gone. Finally they reached the ship. The other soldiers who had stayed to guard it ran to help. Together they got Vex inside and laid him on a medical table. Get us out of here, Zara ordered the pilot. Maximum speed. The ship lifted off Earth. As they rose into space, Zara looked down at the planet below. So blue. So peaceful. So dangerous. 3 days later they arrived back at the Crithan home world. Medical teams took Vex immediately. Zara and the surviving soldiers were checked for injuries. Then came the meetings. Long meetings with the high command. Officers who wanted to know everything. What happened. What they found. What they learned. Zara told them the truth. All of it. About the vampires. About the fight. About Vex's sacrifice. Some officers did not believe her at first. But the evidence was there. The recordings from their armor. The wounds on the soldiers. The bodies they lost. Earth is more dangerous than we thought, the high commander said. He was old, with white markings on his face. The humans share their planet with monsters. Ancient creatures with incredible power. And somehow the humans survive, Zara added. They have lived with these monsters for thousands of years. How? An officer asked. The stories, Zara explained. Every human child learns about vampires, werewolves, demons. They think these are just tales. But the stories are actually lessons. Warnings. They teach humans how to recognize the monsters. How to fight them. How to survive. The room was silent. The humans do not know it, Zara continued, but their folklore is their greatest weapon. Keeps them alive. Generation after generation. The high commander stood. Earth will be marked as a forbidden zone. No Crithan ship will go there again. This order comes from the highest level. The officers agreed. Earth was too dangerous. The reward was not worth the risk. 2 weeks later, Zara visited Vex in the medical facility. He was awake now. Sitting up in bed. His wounds were healing. But the scars would stay forever. New ones to add to the old. Captain, Vex said when she entered. His voice was weak but steady. Commander, Zara replied. She sat in the chair next to his bed. How do you feel? Like I fought a vampire and lost, Vex said. A small smile crossed his face. You won, Zara corrected him. You saved us. You saved me. Vex shook his head slowly. I almost got you all killed. I should have warned everyone sooner. I should have made them understand. We would not have listened, Zara admitted. Just like you said. We laughed at human stories. We thought we knew everything. She looked out the window at the stars beyond. I understand now, she said quietly. Why humans tell those stories. Why they teach their children about monsters in the dark. Because the monsters are real, Vex finished. Yes, Zara nodded. And humans have been fighting them since the beginning. Every night. Every generation. They face the darkness and survive. That is what makes them strong, Vex said. Not technology. Not weapons. But their will to survive against impossible enemies. Zara stood to leave. At the door she stopped and looked back. Will you ever return to Earth? She asked. Vex was quiet for a long moment. He touched the new scars on his arms. No, he said finally. I have learned my lesson. Twice was enough. What lesson? Never laugh at human stories, Vex said. His voice was serious, heavy with memory. Because on Earth the stories do not die. They wait. They watch. And they are always true. Far away on Earth in a town in Eastern Europe, an old priest stood outside a ruined church. He looked at the destruction. The burned walls. The ash piles. He knelt down and made a sign of protection. Then he whispered words in an ancient language. A prayer. A warning. A promise. Behind him, the townspeople came out of their homes. They had hidden during the night. As they always did when the old ones were hunting. Is it over? A young woman asked. The priest stood. He looked at the morning sun. For now, he said. But they will come back. Others like them. They always do. Will we be ready? The priest smiled. It was a tired smile. But also proud. We are always ready. Our ancestors fought these battles. Our children will fight them too. This is the way of humanity. We face the darkness. We tell the stories. We survive. In the distance something moved in. The shadows of the forest. Red eyes watched the town. Patient. Waiting. The war between humans and monsters had lasted for thousands of years. It would last for thousands more. But the humans would endure. They always did. Because they remembered the stories. They believed the warnings. And when the darkness came they knew how to fight back. On the Krithan home world in the High Command archives, a new file was created. Planet Earth, classification, forbidden. Reason, indigenous hostile species. Extreme danger. No contact permitted. Note, the humans share their world with ancient predators. They have adapted to survive. Their folklore is not fiction. It is history. It is warning. It is truth. Any ship approaching Earth will be considered lost. Any soldier requesting Earth mission will be denied. The stories are real. Remember this. Years later, young Krithan soldiers would hear tales about the mission to Earth. About the vampires. About Commander Vex and his sacrifice. Some would think it was just a story. A legend to scare new recruits. But the older soldiers knew better. They knew that some stories should be believed. Because if you laughed at human folklore, if you dismissed their warnings, if you thought their monsters were just tales, then you would learn the terrifying truth. The same truth Commander Vex learned twice. The same truth that cost so many lives. The truth that on Earth, legends do not die. They hunt.